There. Let's see. So today I wanted to talk about a problem that it's kind of ongoing, but I'm working through it a bit. And that is, now that I look back at my career and think about things that I wish I had done better, or where I wish I hadn't sold myself short, was in how I was able to look at problems and solve them. Like, I've always liked solving problems. It's one of the reasons I like rock climbing. It's a very problem solving kind of exercise. And but I always I was an engineer for a long time, and that's kind of like the whole point of being an engineer, is to solve problems, or I guess create them and then solve them. And so I would find myself sitting in meetings sometimes where the solution would seem so obvious to me and nobody else would see it. And so instead of bringing it up, what I would do is just convince myself that clearly I must be missing something. Like, they are seeing something that I am not seeing, because there's no way that all of these other people are missing what seems like a very obvious solution. So clearly I am wrong. I cannot possibly have figured this out when everybody else has not. And I don't know whether that was some of, I was always in a very male-dominated field. I worked in a lot of places where female engineers were just not the norm. And I don't know, I kind of felt the pressure of, not screwing up, because, you don't want to make a bad name for everybody. It's like that, the curse of the person who makes it into the room is like, then you're like forced to represent your entire, half of the population because you're the one female in the room, which is just not fair. And at the time I was too young, I think, to really understand that. And I also didn't know that my brain works differently. I mean, I had colleagues and we all kind of, mostly everything was kind of the same. But, sometimes, and then I would do the thing where I'm like, I'm sorry, this may be silly, or, I'm sure you guys have already thought of this, but is there a reason we're not doing this? And I would always couch it in like this, surely I am wrong, even though I wasn't. And time again, like it was proven that I wasn't wrong, like that I saw things differently. It wasn't that they saw something I didn't, it's that they didn't see something that I did. And I didn't view that as a strength back then. And it's taken a while to really see that, because innately, I still don't want to screw up, even though I know that I do. And that's honestly the best way to learn. But I feel like somewhere along the way, and this was before my diagnosis, but not very long before, when I started talking with other people who, it turns out, were also recently diagnosed or would later turn out to be diagnosed, about the way that I would see things, and they could relate, and had similar experiences. And one of them was a mentor of mine, and he was like, no, you just see things differently, and they don't, it's kind of a superpower. Not everybody has that. And I didn't believe that, because of course I was like, my brain can't be that different than everybody else's. Little did I know. So so it's gotten actually a little bit easier to, now that I know about the ADHD, to know that, I do see things differently. And sometimes that means that I see things that other people do not see. And that is a huge benefit, because sometimes you need that other person, even just saying, okay, well, why, maybe this isn't the right answer, but why aren't we at least considering this? Or maybe there's parts of this that we consider. It's always good to have that other voice in the room. Having an echo chamber is a terrible idea, as you can see in so many places. But at any rate, it's something that I still have to work at, because my gut instinct tends to be to downplay my own abilities, and to be like, gosh, surely other people would have thought of this if it was correct. But it is something that I am taking steps to work on. And honestly, it's been one of those things that has been easier actually now that I know about the ADHD, because I now know, yes, my brain does work differently, and it is kind of different than other people's, and that's good in some ways and frustrating in others, but it is what it is. And so that knowledge has just been really helpful for me. I hope that when I think, or I've read that some people really struggle with the diagnosis and grieve what they thought their life would have been, and that makes total sense. And maybe I'll come to a point where that's how it feels for me. For me, I was in such a stressed out and unsettled place that I couldn't figure out why. So for me, the diagnosis was of relief, and I've been able to view a lot of the challenges that come with it through that lens of relief and benefit. And, not always. I mean, there's still things that I struggle with, and I still get mad at myself when I'm sitting on the couch when I know I should be doing something else and I can't physically pull myself out of the corner with my phone and do the thing that I know needs to be done. And then I beat myself up for that and get to bed too late and, do a whole cycle. But there are a lot of benefits, and I think that it is worth talking about those and honoring those because they're pretty cool benefits. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you think about what's good and less than good about ADHD, or what you felt when you were diagnosed. You can just leave that in the comments, and please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks.